Good morning, everyone. I'm Ruben Espinosa, and it's my sincere pleasure to welcome you to our 2024 RaceB4Race Symposium, Rising. Woo! Over the next 2 days, you're in for stimulating talks, urgent conversations, and being part of a community that really is unlike any other. We're thrilled that you're here with us and very excited for those of you joining RaceB4Race for the first time. I will say this, and I say this often, and I mean it at every turn. ASU is the place to be. At the Arizona Center for Medieval and Renaissance Studies, racial and social justice are at the forefront of our efforts. We take seriously the ASU charter that measures success not by those whom we exclude, but by those whom we include. And it's our firm commitment to ensuring that we center the voices of scholars of color and those committed to inclusive and just futures that has positioned ACMRS as an influential force that is transforming the field of premodern studies and the way we think about the value of the humanities at large. I could not be more proud of the work coming out of ACMRS, and I'm fully aware that it is only possible because of many of the people with us here today and the incredible RaceB4Race community. I'm so proud to call this my intellectual home. None of this, and this is not hyperbole, none of this would have been possible without the vision and fierce leadership of Ayanna Thompson. So thank you, Ayanna. The work we do and the conversations that will transpire over this weekend could not be more urgent. Our present moment demands that we speak honestly and confidently about the racism and social inequities that so many of us face. And yet there are many, many who feel that these conversations are unnecessary and even incendiary. One need only look at responses to our social media advertising to recognize this. As one commentator says about our pointed attention to addressing racism, quit talking about it and it will go away. As another responds with a Morgan Freeman meme of all things, he's right, you know. There are a lot of things I don't know, but I sure as hell know he's not right. These conversations are necessary now more than ever, and my sincere hope is that as we learn together this weekend, we will take what we have learned and share it. This is the beauty and the power of RaceB4Race. If you can believe it, this is our 9th convening of RaceB4Race. Will all the members of the RaceB4Race board please stand up? Some are present and some are not, but I do want to acknowledge all of them. Patricia Kimi, Sita Shaganti, Urvashi Chakravarti, Kim Hall, Jonathan Shu, Farah Karim-Cooper, Dorothy Kim, Daniel Padilla Peralta, Shokufe Rajabdaze, Scott Manning-Stevens, Carla Maria Thomas, Ayanna Thompson, and Cord Whitaker. Thank you for all of your contributions to ensuring the success of this scholarly society. I also want to take a moment to thank the people who make RaceB4Race possible. The Mellon Foundation, the Hitz Foundation, the Henry Luce Foundation, the Humanities Institute at ASU, the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Division of Humanities, and the Arizona State University Office of the President. This weekend's symposium would not be possible without the work of the brilliant Farah Karim-Cooper. She conceived of the theme of this year's symposium, and we are co-hosting this event with Shakespeare Centre London, which bridges Shakespeare's Globe and King's College London, and we are thrilled to have many of our friends from the UK here with us today. If you have made the long journey from London and the UK, would you please stand up? Welcome to Tempe. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the best team at ASU, our ACMRS staff. Roy Rukilla, Susan Cox, Todd Halverson, Terry Kessler, Sarah Moser, Laura Turchi, M. McDonough, Taylor Filmini, Leah Newsom, and our incredible student workers, Andrea Zamora Chavez, Paulina Soto, and Bonnie Liu. These amazing people are the backbone of ACMRS and our symposium, and we are incredibly grateful for their work If you have a moment during this weekend symposium, please take time to thank them, because all of this is only possible because of them. If you are a recipient of an ACMRS or Folger Shakespeare Library Travel Award, please stand up. Congratulations and welcome. We are grateful to the Folger Shakespeare Library for sponsoring many of this year's travel awards. When you donate to the ACMRS Travel Awards, 100% of those funds go to supporting scholars like these to attend Race4Race. So please donate. We are grateful to those of you who support ACMRS. As in years past, this weekend, we are offering professional headshots for early career scholars. Our photographer will be available on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're an early career scholar and would like a professional headshot, which you would like, please sign up at the registration desk. It will be first come, first serve. Before I hand it over to Farah, who is going to give the opening remarks for this symposium's theme, I want to share with you something that we've been working on. You might know that back in 2021, ACMRS was awarded a $3.5 million grant from the Mellon Foundation to further the work of Race4Race by focusing on curricular development, field diversification, academic mentorship, and public humanities work around race in the pre-modern humanities fields. Much of this work has been incredibly visible, largely due to the work of Patricia Akimi and Dorothy Kim. But we've been quietly working away on a big and bold project here at ACMRS called Through Lines.
A few years ago, I was teaching a large lecture class on a survey of early British literature. And the class was unusually animated, willing to talk about the most challenging topics. They were highly engaged. And then we got to Othello, and there was silence. At first I thought maybe they haven't read the play, so I asked. And 150 heads said, no, we have read it. And I was like, why are you all quiet? And I realized at that moment that these students had never been in a space where they could talk about race openly.
But I wanted students to understand and have compassion.
Why should Shakespeare matter to us? That Europe would be alone in the period is frankly laughable.
Basically, talking about the past is the point, is the historical point, the starting point of healing.
These are skills that they will take with them for the rest of their lives.
Through Lines offers accessible and critical ways to incorporate discussions of race into your classroom with lectures, activities, exemplar syllabi, and more. We've been collaborating with some of the most cutting-edge scholars in the field, and you can learn more by scanning the QR code on the postcard you might have found on your seat, or by going to splash.throughlines.org. Throughout the symposium, we will be demoing this content, which won't launch to the public until fall 2024. We want your feedback, to know what you find useful and to find ways to improve and expand our work. So if you want a sneak peek, you can demo Through Lines in the Basha room right outside those doors. Please ask any of our staff to learn more about it. Thank you again for being here with us today, and without further ado, please join me in thanking and welcoming Farah Karim-Cooper.
Oh my God, Through Lines. Thank you so much, everybody. It's so great to see you all here. I'm so honored to be back in Tempe at ASU at this amazing gathering with this collective. On behalf of the Shakespeare Centre London, it's a pleasure to welcome you to Race4Race Rising. This symposium is even more meaningful for me as I look out and I see my colleagues and our tiny cohort of students and scholars of color from King's and the Globe. The pioneering work of Race4Race and ACMRS is providing an extraordinary model and inspiration for the kind of work we want to do in the UK to open up the field and make it a welcoming space so that scholars of color can thrive rather than just survive. Where we can produce knowledge in a professional environment that not only welcomes their voices, but that is built on a structure that lifts them up. The fact that I am the only full professor in Shakespeare studies in the United Kingdom, even if the Globe pays 80% of my salary, should make people there more angry than they are. In January of 2020, I called a diversity forum and invited early modernists and Shakespeareans from around the country to the Globe to talk about why the field is so white. 4 incredibly brave PhD students, women of color, spoke passionately of their situations. Having done my MA and PhD in the UK, hearing their experiences was resonant and difficult. Isolation, gatekeeping, microaggression, racism, and so on. I formed a steering committee, and together we created the Early Modern Scholars of Color Network. A powerful collective that, after receiving funding, is gaining incredible momentum. We've just launched a mentorship scheme in collaboration with the Society for Renaissance Studies. By the end of last year, all 4 of these incredible women obtained their PhDs. I was so moved by their determination and courage. Their success was also a powerful testimony to collectivity and the solidarity they found with each other. The increasing number of students of color emerging gives me hope, dare I say, that perhaps the pipeline is gently, slowly opening. In Britain, it feels twice as hard. 2 of these magical women are here, so I'd like to ask them to stand up. Thank you to Dr. Wendy Lennon, and to Dr. Shawnee Bonds. I also want to give a shout out to Drs. Hassana Musa and Noor El Ghazaz. MSOC is managed by this committee and the hard work of King's Globe PhD student Lydia Valentine, with the support of my Globe colleague, Dr. Han Bowie. So I want to say thank you to them and to Ellie Cummings and to Rebecca Adjuse for making the journey over here, and to our colleague in the UK, Dr. Hannah Crawford. Finally, I also want to say thank you to Dr. Will Tosh, who Adjoa once pronounced was an honorary woman of color, for his mentorship of our students and also shepherding everybody over. And he's not just an ally, he's an actual accomplice, and it's really, I'm so grateful for his work. Originally, we had planned that this year's symposium would take place in England at my 2 institutions, King's and the Globe. It would not prove to be viable or affordable, so I want to thank Ayanna Thompson, first for her tireless work for this field, which we're all benefiting from, and for agreeing to co-host Rising. I'm incredibly grateful to Ruben Espinosa, who's one of the most empathic and patient collaborators I've ever worked with. Leah Newsom, who is just a goddess and just makes everything possible. And thank you to Terry Kessler for bringing us all here. I want to acknowledge the King's co-director of the center, Jemima Matthews, for all her work behind the scenes to ensure our own students and colleagues would be here. So why explore trauma? On the back of my own experiences of academia and pre-modern texts, and more recently in the aftermath of a tragic loss that traumatized my family, seemingly irreparably, being an academic, I wanted to find ways to anatomize traumatic events and the gentle stabbing of the everyday experience of being minoritized, but did not want to do so on my own, but rather with this collective and in this space, where I have encountered so much love and amity. Conversations I've had on this subject with Cord Whitaker in particular have been profoundly eye-opening. So thank you to Cord for the work you do, which I want to recognize here. It seems impossible to know how to name or acknowledge the global sense of trauma being felt as we continue to witness unspeakable events around the world, and in particular in Gaza. So many members of our scholarly community are directly affected by what's happening, so I bring it to our thoughts here, if only briefly, in what no doubt will sound like inarticulate gasps. RaceB4Race is more than a conference series. It is a rigorous space for radical transformation, reflection, and inquiry. And it is a space for community and immense joy. If this is your first one, you'll see how academic conferences can be environments of belonging and authenticity. Never thought that could happen. When planning this event, it became clear that if we spent 2 days focusing on trauma without advancing our gaze towards the light of collectivity, scholarship, and creativity, it would only be half of this story. So I thank all the speakers in advance for taking up that challenge, and I look forward to the conversations that we generate, as well as the tools that we might provide for each other throughout the weekend. So thank you all. I'm so incredibly efficient that we're actually a little bit ahead of time. So I want to introduce our first speaker. One thing I'm going to say that all the speaker biogs are in your program, so we won't be reading out the biogs. And so we're just going to tell you who our speakers are, and they'll come up and dazzle you. So our first speaker today is Rana Kulum. So please welcome Rana to the podium.